Among all the questions on Avatar fans' minds regarding the new Netflix live-action reboot, one has been more prevalent than all the others. When is the thing going to come out? Ever since the series was announced in September of 2018, fans have been scrambling for news of the release date. However, there has hardly been any news about the series announced since then, leading to a lot of fan grumbling. Some fans wonder if the show even is going to come out. They worry that it has been trapped in production hell. I'm not that pessimistic, and considering how long it takes for a project of this magnitude to be produced, the 10 months that have passed from the announcement to the release of this video is not exactly that long. Nevertheless, my mind has spent a significant amount of time wondering when the new Avatar Netflix series is going to be released. So I think it would be appropriate for me to share my hypotheses with you. This is Avatar Explained. When is the Netflix series going to come out? There have been a few updates since the original announcement, mostly to let the fans know the series has not been cancelled or anything like that. It is going to be released, the only question is when. The Avatar fandom is so desperate for news about this new series that whenever anyone important to the original show has talked about it, headlines have been made. When Inverse interviewed Aaron Haas before Season 2 of his show, The Dragon Prince, he talked about how he had high hopes for the new Avatar Netflix series. We don't know much about the show, but we do know that the original creators are going to be involved. And we know that the casting is going to be ethnically accurate, unlike the terrible Shyamalan movie, which made Aang, Sokka, and Katara white. And we also know that original composer Jeremy Zuckerman is going to be involved, though he says it is going to be a while before his talents are needed. However, the most significant updates have come from Bryan Konietzko's Tumblr. I recommend you check this semi-regularly if you want to make sure to not miss any news about the new Avatar show. These Tumblr posts are going to be the basis and the foundation for this video going forward. Let's look at them. On September the 19th, 2018, the day after the series was announced, and coincidentally also my 19th birthday, Bryan posted a picture of Mike. He's still bald, though his beard has turned gray in places. The post is just Bryan talking about how it's a pleasure to be working with Mike again, though they have a long way to go. After that, there's a post talking about the death of Bryan's dog, and then there's another post lamenting the death of the creator of SpongeBob. Then on January 3rd, he made a post imploring fans to stop submitting acting auditions, for the show was not casting yet. For our purposes, this reveals that they are still a long way away from airing the first season. After that, all is quiet for the next 6 months or so. Then on May 29th, Bryan Konietzko writes a very substantial post about the new show. With this post, there are two pictures. One is of Mike and him walking from one meeting to the next. The other is more humorous. It depicts two appas packed in a cardboard box. As someone who has my own stuffed appa, I find this quite adorable. But it's not as important as the substance of the post. He talks about how difficult and complicated the process of making the show really is. And he says that although everything is going really slow right now, it will be going extremely fast before too long. As to the question of whether a trailer has been made, Bryan Konietzko says that they are a long way from that point, and that fans would not want to see a version of the show that was made in 9 months. I tend to agree with him on this point, as I have seen a lot of terrible Hollywood productions that are terrible because they were rushed. I know a lot of you are frustrated, and I know a lot of y'all feel that this is taking an extremely long time, but be patient. The show will be better because the creators took their time. Then he says something that I will just quote because I could not hope to say it better than he does. We're trying to make something special that will stand the test of time. A live-action Avatar series is an incredibly daunting, complicated thing to pull off. A fantasy travel show with tons of martial arts, visual effects, CGI, and so on. And to do it right takes a lot of planning. He's basically Tenzin telling us to be patient, and like Tenzin, he's right. After that, he makes an important point, talking about how when Korra and the original show were in this stage of production, they had not even been announced yet. Now, obviously making a live-action show is different from making an animated show, but it does place into perspective just how long we might have to wait for the show to be released. Konietzko ends the post by saying that they need to take time to get everything right and to make Appa cute. Both are things I think we can all agree are very important. What he implies is that one has a choice to either make a show good or make a show quick, and he greatly prefers to make a show good. The note ends with him saying they will be starting the casting process before long. I don't know exactly when this is, but I think it's a safe bet to say it will be before the end of the year. So, if you, unlike me, have prodigious acting talent, and you want to be in a live-action remake of one of the greatest shows of all time, you better start preparing yourself. Since then, there has been only one post on Bryan's Tumblr, at least as of the making of this video. It was released the day after the big post, and it shows Mike and Bryan, yes, Bryan has grown out his hair quite a bit, with Michaela Murphy. If you don't recognize that name, you might recognize this one, Jessie Flower. Yes, that is the woman who played Toph in the original show. She was born in 1994, which means she was Toph's age when the show came out. It also means she's 25 now. If you watched the original show when it came out, and you feel very old looking at that picture, I don't blame you. But back to the task at hand, when is the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender going to be released? Some very optimistic Avatar fans think the show might be released before the end of 2019, but I find that highly doubtful. I think the absolute earliest we can hope for is 2020. The Last Airbender was first announced to general audiences in July 2004 at Comic-Con. The Legend of Korra was first announced to general audiences in July 2012 at Comic-Con. The Last Airbender premiered in February of 2005. The Legend of Korra premiered in April of 2012. Why does any of this matter? Well, remember what I said earlier. Konietzko announced that the show is in an earlier stage of production than both Avatar and Korra were when they were announced. Obviously, the time between when the live-action show was announced and when it is going to be released is more than the 7 months that was the time between when the original Avatar was announced and when it was released. That much time has already passed. But if the new Avatar takes more than Korra's 21 months from announcement to premiere, we have a long wait ahead of us. However, one could argue that the live-action production process is inherently different from the animated production process, so let's look at another fantasy live-action series that Netflix is producing right now, The Witcher. I have no idea whether The Witcher will be any good, or how Witcher showrunner Lauren Schmidt Hissrich's production style compares to the production style of Michael Dante DiMartino and Bryan Konietzko, but it is an interesting comparison nonetheless. In 2017, Netflix announced that it was producing The Witcher. The show is going to air sometime in fall of 2019. That is about 2.5 years of production. Of course, The Witcher did not have a showrunner until late 2017, so it's not exactly a fair comparison. If the Avatar reboot does, in fact, take as long as The Witcher, that would put its release date sometime in early 2021. I know that sounds far away, don't be discouraged. Because Avatar has veteran showrunners, and because they're adapting a show that already exists, I expect production will take less time. If you put a gun to my head and told me to give you a time frame, I'd probably say late 2020, though anywhere from summer 2020 to spring 2021 is possible. That is, unless there are complications, and that is a legitimate possibility. What's the biggest fantasy property in the world right now? Not the one that people like the best, but the one that has the most buzz. It's Game of Thrones. But before Game of Thrones came out, and built up a half-decade's worth of audience goodwill only to squander it on one middling season and one downright head-scratching season, it had production problems. A lot of production problems. Game of Thrones started production in early 2007. It did not premiere until April 2011. That is over 4 years. If the Avatar Netflix series takes that long from production to airing, and we accept that the show started production shortly before it was announced, it might not come out until 2022. Then again, HBO took a long time to greenlight the Game of Thrones pilot, and even after it was greenlit, the entire pilot had to be almost completely reshot before HBO would air it. So if you're an Avatar fan and you believe in a higher power, pray the production goes smoothly. If you don't believe in a higher power, just cross your fingers and hope. The next few years are going to be very exciting for Avatar fans. Netflix has orchestrated something of a new fantasy boom. Yes, all the networks have been trying to make the next Game of Thrones, but Netflix is taking real, substantial steps to getting there. The Dragon Prince is great, and I hope the new Witcher show will be too. But the crown jewel in Netflix's collection is Avatar: The Last Airbender, even if it doesn't know so yet. If it's good, it will give the Avatar fandom the chance to substantially expand for the first time since the original show ended in 2008. I am an ardent defender of The Legend of Korra, but even I will admit that the first season of that show is not exactly a great entry point for new Avatar fans, both because it's not as good as it could have been, and because it is still lingering in the shadow of the original show. The new Netflix series, however, should provide a great opportunity for the popularity of the franchise to expand. When Shyamalan's disaster rightfully flopped, Avatar fans lamented how the franchise had blown the opportunity to be exposed to a wider audience and become as ingrained in the zeitgeist as The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. But Netflix has handed the franchise another opportunity. Let's hope the franchise doesn't waste that opportunity. Second chances come around often enough, but third chances? Not so much. If this adaptation flops, we might not get a new Avatar series for another 20 or 30 years. So be patient and wait for late 2020 or early 2021. Hope the creators take all the time they need. Hope the show's good. And if the show is good and new fans do flood into the Avatar fandom, treat them with respect. Be nice to them. Make sure they respect the show, but don't be jerks. Help them learn why the show is so great. Help welcome them into this Avatar family we've created. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more content like this. Keep watching Avatar. It is a fantastic show. And don't forget to tune in to the next Avatar Explained video. It will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.